I was in a very bad situation when I relocated. Imagine me coming into the UK and then 2 3 weeks after, I'm spending 2 3 weeks in the hospital on admission. I Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. It's me, Chineze Frances. If you're seeing my face for the first time, welcome back. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about something very important. A few years ago when I relocated to the UK, I just 2 weeks after I did, as a post-transplant patient, I wasn't sure about what to expect. But then when I relocated to the UK, I fell sick and I had a kidney infection. It was finally diagnosed polionephritis. When I came in, I started experiencing, a few weeks after I came into the UK, I started experiencing pain on my side. That's the side of my transplant. And I also had temperature. So I was experiencing temperature, very high temperature, and I was wondering what was going on. But then I had to rush myself to A&E. I'm not sure, I can't say now if it was late, but the good thing is I did it on time. I was just worried. I've just come into the UK. What will be causing me pain on my side? What will be causing me to run temperature and all that? But then I had to go to A&E and I was placed on treatment. They prescribed some kind of antibiotics for me, and after spending some days, almost weeks in the hospital, I felt better. In today's video, I'll be giving you tips on how to stay healthy and prevent infection when you intend to travel, be it for vacation, for relocation, for a new job or anything. If you have a low immune system, obviously as a post-transplant patient, your immunity is going to be low. So if you are traveling based on these things I've mentioned, these are tips for you to stay safe and prevent infection as much as you can. Now, whether you get infection or not is inevitable, but you can do some things to prevent it from actually happening. And I'll be giving you those tips today. So before you travel, before you relocate, before you go to anywhere, at the end of the day, these tips I'm giving is not just for people that have low infection, low immunity, I meant to say, that have low immunity, but it can also be tips for you that wants to be on the safe side before you travel. You can go and do your necessary checkups and pay attention to these other things I'm going to be mentioning. So first of all, if you want to travel and you have low immunity, just like I did at the time, what you want to do is to get clearance from your doctor. Even while I'm in the UK currently, whenever I want to travel, I have to go and speak to my doctor and ask him, is it okay for me to go to so place? These are my markers. Will this be okay? And then he can advise me on what to do. And then they'll check if you're fit to travel or give you additional doses, or just check your medication and see if it's okay for you before you are able to travel. Need that you'll be placed on some kind of vaccine. You also get that vaccine before you travel. The second thing is, before you travel, you have to reset your destination. Now, before I traveled to the UK, I knew I was going to the UK and I was going to stay with my husband. But apart from that, I didn't really make any research. I didn't do anything. I just felt, okay, I'm going to meet people that I already know. So my husband was in the UK. So in my mind, I was just thinking I can just go and life goes on. I was fine while I was in Nigeria. So I didn't need to pay attention to anything. But in today's video, I'm talking about those things you need to pay attention to. I wish I knew these things before I traveled, and that's why I'm here today to tell you about them. So you want to find out about where you're traveling to, what health risk you'll be disposed to in case there is any. We are in the UK. Even if you are traveling from Africa to the UK, there are two entirely different environments. Africa is a warmer climate. The UK is a colder climate. So there will be those changes. You want to be sure that you're paying attention to these things. What disease might affect you in that place you are traveling to. You can check your website. You can even check the healthcare system of where you are going to see if you can pick up one or two information that would help you with your condition. I hope that makes sense. Number 3, you want to see if there are necessary vaccinations that you need to be administered before you travel. So before I came into the UK, I obviously went for my yellow fever, hepatitis B vaccines. You would need to speak to your healthcare team wherever you're coming from, and they would advise you what vaccine to take. So obviously, as a post-transplant patient, so there are some vaccines that you are not allowed to take, like the live vaccines. You can't take them, but just speak to your healthcare practitioners, your healthcare team, so that they can tell you what vaccine is suitable for you before you travel. So the number 4 is you want to pack your medication. Now, you might be traveling to a new country and you think that when you go there, you might get the necessary medication, but from wherever you're coming from, you need to pack the necessary medications that you would need. You don't want to be missing your medication. You don't want to miss the timing for your medications. You want to be on top of it. So make sure that you pack the necessary medication. When I was coming to the UK, I obviously had my medication for the number of just for the few days. And if I didn't fall sick, I wouldn't have known how to get the medication from here in the UK. So when I fell sick, that's how I went to the hospital, and then they obviously gave me the information I needed about how to restock my medication and things like that. You want to also pack some medical supplies, things like hand sanitizer, because you are going to a different place. Even from the flight to wherever you're going to, you need to be hygienic. As in, the hygiene you has to be top notch. Your hand sanitizer, your mask, your disinfectant wipes, you need to pack all these in your small bag so that you can always reach for them when you are posed to the risk of infection. And to be honest, there's so much you can do as human beings, but those little things that we do, like washing our hands regularly, using hand sanitizer when you have to, or even using the face mask when you see somebody that has a cold close to you, all those things, they really add up. This is kind of a tricky situation, I would like to say. It might not be for everybody, but if you can get yourself a travel insurance, just so that just in case anything happens, you'll be covered in that health, you'll be covered under the insurance. And we all travel, or we all go about our days, our vacation, new place, new relocation and all that, and we don't intend that things would happen, but just in case anything happens, you are in a safe place. Also, when I was talking about the medical supplies, when you go to get your medication, there is this card that they give you, those that are on steroids, or there are some medications that come with cards. You want to have those cards just so that if you are in a place where you are not able to give the information that is needed, that card will just show them. The card states your transplant, and that card will say the immunosuppressants you are on, or your transplant information, things like that. So another tip, I think this is say number 6. I'm not even counting anymore, but one important tip for you is that you are at the top of your hydration. When you are moving to a new country, it's always best for you that you are at the top of your hydration. Now, when I came into the UK, I was hydrating as much as I could, but because the weather here is actually very cold, you will tend not to drink more water than I would have done where I was coming from. So it's important that if you can drink filtered water, you always try to take filtered water. The water we take might be packed with toxins, but if you can filter your water, or maybe stick with bottled water to just help your system. You also want to stick with hot meals, freshly made meals. When I had my transplant done, I was advised to always eat freshly made meals. And at the time, my mom was still with me. So she was the one doing the cooking. Now that I'm married, it's not as easy as it was making freshly made meals, but you can always try as much as possible to make freshly made meals. Going to the restaurant on a regular is not advised for someone that is immunocompromised. You also want to avoid raw seafood, unpasteurized dairy, that's unpasteurized cow milk, and buffets where you sit down for very long periods of time. You can have those fun days where you want to just relax a bit, but it shouldn't be a regular thing. You should always try and make your homemade fresh foods to eat. You also want to practice and maintain good hygiene, like washing your hands all the time, washing your hands frequently and using hand sanitizers, disinfecting hotel surfaces, those light switch, the door handles, things like that. As much as you can, stay on top of your hygiene. With the little things you can do, keep up. wear masks in crowded places, all those little things. And this is especially if you are just relocating, you don't know what to expect in the new environment. So you try to protect yourself. And then when you come into the new country, you can now present yourself to the medical practitioners there or to the doctors there, and then they can do a test and check your baseline and start managing you from there. One thing I didn't pay attention to at the very beginning when I relocated was being exposed to sunlight. One of the things that I found out in a very hard way is exposing myself to sunlight. As a kidney recipient, you would have, or rather, I would say kidney recipients are prone to skin conditions in the long run, which obviously you don't get to know at the very beginning, at the initial stage. So it's important that you protect yourself with sunscreen. If you have to reduce exposure to sun, try as much as possible if you can do that, or you wear a hat where necessary. Just protect yourself from sun, basically. That's the most important thing. Or you can use high SPF sunscreens. So if you are relocating or traveling to a tropical region, you want to use the insect repellers, all those things that will prevent those mosquito bites from infecting you even more. Wear long sleeves if you can, or sleep under a mosquito net if needed. Once you relocate to a new place, try as much as possible to get yourself to a doctor as soon as possible so that they can have a hold of whatever it is that is happening. If you begin to feel unwell, just don't wait. Contact your medical doctor, contact a medical doctor, contact any any emergency center, clinic, whatever. Just speak to them as soon as possible. You contact a doctor as soon as possible. Don't wait. If you begin to feel unwell, this is one of the mistakes I made. I didn't wait for too long, but then I would have been seen a bit earlier. If I was seen a bit earlier, my situation wouldn't have been the way it was or wouldn't be the way it is. So this is a very important message or a very important tip. Once you relocate or once you travel to anywhere, make sure that you present yourself to a doctor, especially if you are immunocompromised. Make sure you present yourself to a doctor so that they can check you and manage you on time or manage you properly. And also, once you relocate, if you are immunocompromised and you relocate to a new town, country, city, watch out for those signs of infection like fever, fatigue, digestive issues. Just watch out for urinary tract infection, those things that you would not normally have or you could have, you never can tell. So anything that seems different, watch out for them and pay attention to them and report them immediately. Don't wait for too long, because if you wait for a minute later, it could be disastrous, it could be dangerous to your health. And that's it. It's possible to actually relocate after a kidney transplant. You just have to not be like me. You have to pay attention to those very light minor changes, those slight changes that you experience. Pay attention to them and plan ahead to take precautions. I was in a very bad situation when I relocated. Imagine me coming into the UK and then 2-3 weeks after, I'm spending 2-3 weeks in the hospital on admission. I wish I knew this, but I'm here to tell you that it is actually possible to relocate. Just pay attention to those signs and symptoms that you would experience once you move to a new town or a new environment. Thank you so much for watching. If you've come to the end with me, if you've had a transplant and you've recently relocated to a different environment, let me know how you are thriving, how you are coping. If you found this video helpful, please don't forget to subscribe, share, comment down in the comment section, and turn on your notification bell so that whenever I post any video, you'll be the first person to know. And please don't forget to subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, I'll see you all later. Bye.